primaries tend to be lower turnouts. There's a whole list of factors that could go either way in a primary. If a couple of these squad members lose their primaries and they're picked off, I have to imagine, like I said, I'm not holding out any hope for Ryan Grimm because of a lot of what Kit said, and I think he's absolutely right about a lot of that. But there's going to be some second guessing amongst the rank and file. Hey, how worthwhile is this project of reforming the Democratic Party if all we have to show for our efforts over the last 6 years are a dozen mostly useless squad members, 3 or 4 of which were just picked off by the Israel lobby the second they stepped out of line. That could create some second guessing amongst some voters. I think these PMC functionaries like Ryan Grimm, I think they're going to go down with the ship because, as Kit said, that's their gig. That's their beat. Everybody's got a racket, everybody's got a beat, and that's theirs.
Yeah, let me just the elephant in the room. Let's talk about the story of the $100 million investment in this short little video. We can, instead of reading the article, Nick kindly put together this video that goes over the story and gives the details. So let's listen to it, and then we'll finally get to Jamal Bowman interview where he's trying to come off as a pitiful young lad there, as a sweet summer child in the interview he does with Alec Wagner. But let's listen to Nick's video on the story.
AIPAC is planning on spending $100 million in order to unseat people in Congress who are critical of the genocide of the Palestinian people. Pro-Israeli legislation often passes with around 95 to 99% Congress support. Despite this, Israel and AIPAC is still not satisfied. AIPAC wants no dissent. AIPAC is very proud with how they interfere in our elections. According to their website, 98% of AIPAC-backed candidates won their general election. They spent over $17 million. They also brag about defeating 13 candidates who would have undermined the U.S.-Israel relationship. How is any of this legal? Remember all the shit-libs who pushed Russiagate, who used to claim that Russia was undermining our elections? That's exactly what Israel and AIPAC is. AIPAC have been targeting members of the Black Congressional Caucus for years now over very mild statements critical of Israel. I cannot stress enough that many of these Black Congressional Caucus sellouts are pro-Israel. They are just not pro-Israel enough. And despite their own members being targeted by AIPAC, being funneled by Republican mega donors, Democrats stay silent and complicit with this. Where is the DCCC? The job of the DCCC is to protect incumbent Democrats unless Israel targets them. The United States is not a democracy. It's a capitalist dictatorship, and we have Zionist capitalists that are currently dictating our policies.
So why support? So if I'm Jamal Bowman, if I'm AOC, I think this is a great, a pretty good question. If AIPAC is going to spend $100 million on me after I vote with them 95 to 99% of the time, why wouldn't I just not support them? I'm going to get the same rage. Like, I don't understand why not now just side with history, side with humanity by voting against Israel all the time. That's what I don't get, Keaton. Do you have an explanation? Go ahead.
That's the $64,000 question when it comes to all of these Democrats, from the electeds all the way down to the rank and file. This idea that if they play nice, that AIPAC will then play nice in return. Or, in the case of the Bernie Sanders campaigns, if you play nice with the DNC, the DNC will play nice back. Doesn't work that way.
Nope.
Doesn't work that way. I have no explanation for why they don't know that. I think some people genuinely don't know that. I think some people have ulterior motives, have reasons not to know it. It's a mystery. I can't really claim to know exactly. I can't diagnose exactly what it is in each individual that keeps them from seeing that. But the truth is as obvious as could possibly be. As Nick said in that video, it's not that Jamal Bowman isn't pro-Israel. He is. I know a couple people posted in the chat that he's taking Israel money. That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. They demand full, unanimous compliance. Anything less than that, they will come for you. That's how they maintain the kind of hegemony that they have maintained. That's why it's so hard in a situation like this to even get a 4-day pause. It takes a massacre of 14,000 people to even get a 4-day timeout. And the reason for that is because the Israel lobby has been hard at work for many, many years, keeping everyone on a super short leash. You are not allowed to stray from their narrative at all. If you are in Washington, D.C., you have to swallow the entire thing every minute of every day. That's why it seemed so hopeless at first, and it doesn't seem all that much less hopeless now, to be honest with you. But you are seeing that narrative start to fall apart. If AIPAC had their way, it wouldn't be. And the way they have enforced their narrative on Washington is by doing shit like this. By cracking the whip the second anyone steps an inch out of line.
You know, it's sooner or later that is going to blow up in AIPAC's face, because look, they could buy off the politicians, but as soon as more people start speaking out, I mean, you could crack the whip as much as you want.
Well, that's it, Kit. That's exactly right. Yep.
Until people like collectively, like somebody grabs the whip and like, hey, why don't you get off that high pedestal and come on down here and act all big and tough without that whip? Because that's how human history always repeats itself. You know, you mentioned like you don't know why, like maybe some people haven't figured it out. I think either that they do know and maybe they're hoping that their career ends and they can at least go out with somewhat of a bang, or maybe they're being advised by people who are taking AIPAC money to tell their friends like, hey, if you play nice, AOC or any Democrat member, like if you play nice, then maybe they'll play nice with you. So they're being given terrible advice. Or, you know, maybe AIPAC just says, hey, look, do you really want this job? Because, like, look, you play nice. We're going to destroy your career, but we'll give you, like, out there in the woods, X marks the spot. There's a whole bag of money. Just take it and F off. So I'm expecting the bare minimum, and I'm not going to hold these politicians to a high standard. All of them are getting paid off. All their staffers are being paid off. They only care about money. They don't care about integrity. You think they care about the Republic or the U.S. Constitution? No. All these people have been bought off from day one. They have no honor and integrity. We have no true representation. It's all about money and people who are thinking about their careers 2 years, 4 years, 8 years down the road. We all got to come to terms with that. There's no one of integrity in Washington, D.C. It's all about the dollars. It's all about the money. And if there's any politician or staffer or DC insider wants to prove us wrong, well, then come on to our shows. Tell us what are we missing? Because why is it that everybody in Washington, D.C., all these institutions, their approval ratings are in the low double digits? Why is it that Americans don't trust corporate media? It's because of what we're seeing presented before us and their actions, the choices that they have made, and how it's impacting all of us. But then again, I could be wrong.